how to leverage your inner child to gain confidence in your marketing so you can finally tackle the big scary marketing monster and win. Hey, today I am on this special episode of Sensei Sarah's Incredible Insights, and I'll be answering some of your questions about how to gain more confidence in your marketing by having fun and what that's got to do with your inner child. So here's why this is really critical for every personal trainer who hates marketing, who's watching this right now. Firstly, marketing is a critical part of your success, and the longer you fight with it, the longer you'll struggle. Secondly, simply being a personal trainer is not enough of a draw for potential clients these days. And thirdly, promoting your services as a personal trainer can feel like you're selling yourself and therefore your soul, which is uncomfortable when you're not confident that you have anything special or different to offer. So I'm super excited about this session because we're going to draw back the curtain and reveal how to turn the big scary marketing monster into a cute little bunny rabbit. And once you know this stuff, you will never unknow it, and you'll never be forced to deal with crappy clients ever again. So here's the first question that has been sent to me. So it is, you seem to have a lot of fun in your marketing. Why is that? Well, it wasn't always the way, I have to say. I've always been brought up to think that working hard meant that, keep your head down, do what you're supposed to be doing, and good things will happen. And when I first started out in personal training back in 2001, the personal training got boring really quick. So I wanted something for my brain to do. So I learned about injuries because I was always being injured. And that followed a period of about 10 years where my brain was learning a lot, which was fantastic. And then I started learning, playing around with the online stuff and getting help from friends. People who would write sales letters for me, they would help me with a website, that kind of stuff. And then the gym that I was working from, so I had become a therapist by then, so I was treating and training people with injuries. The gym that I was training from, working out of, they gave me 2 weeks notice to say that they were closing down and they were moving somewhere which was too far for me to travel with them. And when they moved, those friends disappeared too. So I didn't have any help in all of a sudden having to navigate this online stuff. So I paid out thousands on people and products that I thought would help. I did what they said, and it just seemed to go from bad to worse. Like, I'm not stupid. Give me some instructions to follow and I'll follow them. And that's what I did. But things just didn't seem to work. And then, after years of struggling to figure it out, I just started to turn the corner and get some traction with what I was doing. And then COVID hit and wiped everything out. And because I had been so focused on working hard, my mental health really suffered in that situation, and I really needed to remove the stress. And that was the turning point, really, from me focusing and being really serious about everything to just having some joy in everything that I was doing. I really started to question what would bring me joy in my business. And I was really shocked to discover that just helping people wasn't enough. I had to put in what I felt was really joyful in my soul, and it turned out that it wasn't the thing that I thought it would be. It wasn't the thing that I'd been learning for the last 20 years or doing, and then I heard somebody say that your biggest struggle is your biggest calling. And I realized that my struggle had always been putting myself out there, selling, all that kind of stuff. I was the trainer who used to say, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a personal trainer or a therapist or whatever. But I realized that my biggest struggle was putting myself out there. I'm naturally quite an introverted person, so it doesn't feel normal or nice for me to feel like I'm selling myself. So what I decided to do was layer what brought me joy into or on top of the biggest struggle I'd been having. And actually, it created a really unique approach that just lights me up every single day. I created a whole bunch of cartoon characters. I enjoy writing fictional stories. And so I created what I call the Kick-Ass Marketing Mission game, which uses fictional stories that represent real life business struggles that I've had, that I've seen other people have. And it's based on working with hundreds of one to one clients. And then I show you how that relates to your business and give you quick little tasks to do that you earn points and rewards for completing. So I've seen hundreds of clients, I've worked with them one to one, and they always get stuck in the stress because they don't acknowledge or include their own happiness in their business. They're so focused on helping other people. And I was exactly the same. But it results in a lack of clarity and direction, which means that you're constantly second guessing yourself, you're constantly doubting yourself, and you shy away from doing the things that would actually move your business forward. And honestly, I never get tired of seeing that switch. Somebody who changes from being hesitant or uncomfortable with marketing themselves into like, oh, this is great, and feel really confident about being able to help other people in what they do, putting themselves out there. And it's always this one thing, it's always the same. It was exactly the same for me. It's this one thing that stops them moving forward in their business. And it's very much like a video game or any other game. You get stuck on one little bit and you're fighting it, fighting it, fighting it, fighting it. But when you complete it, when you do it, it's like you could go through 5 more levels quite easily before you get stuck again. And that's exactly what happens when people don't acknowledge and don't put into their business their own joy. Once they get that clarity and direction, they just fly because everything else is really simple. You can learn how to do all the other stuff in marketing, but nobody ever teaches you how to learn about yourself. So anyway, yeah, that's why I decided to turn it into a game. That's what lights me up. But then loads of people ask me why a game. Well, games have been studied for decades in the education space. I started out my career, if you like, being a teacher. So I was training to be a teacher in a secondary school, and inside of there was always games that students would play. You do your work experience with kids who were younger, so you'd start doing, teaching people who were like 5 years old, and then you'd gradually work up the age groups to get yourself to the secondary age group, and always there's games involved in education, and there's been proven time and time and time again that they lower anxiety, they reduce resistance for difficult subjects or things that people are shying away from, they increase understanding, so everything what they are learning sinks in better, and that increases their achievements because they're no longer shying away from the thing that's holding them back. And besides which, why not? Life is so stressful. Being in business for yourself is very stressful. And everyone loves playing games. That's why you've got them on your phone. That's why, everybody 5 seconds they've got standing in a queue or whatever. You just play. And because it gives your brain a rest, it gives you a bit of joy in your life. And there's a lot to learn in business. So why not have some fun while you do it? All right. So next question. To be successful in marketing, is it true that you have to sell people into long blocks of training, give away hours and hours of free stuff to get a sale, or spend half your life in free consultations to convert prospects into buyers? Well, yes, that is true. If you want to feel like you're using sleazy or manipulative sales tactics, you're offering the earth for a measly sum, or you're focused on filling your diary with 20 plus one-to-one sessions a week, you know? But when you find what brings you joy and you layer that with the lessons you've learned from overcoming your own struggles, and then you invite people to share your joy, and the solutions that worked for you, then everything just feels really different because you're not trying to be like everyone else, and you're not trying to sell a commodity. The mistake I've seen trainers make time and time again is thinking that they need to know how to sell, but that doesn't come from a place of authenticity. and people can tell. And if you're struggling with your own authenticity, then you don't feel comfortable putting yourself out there because you feel fake, and it just feels weird. And the majority of trainers I know care more about helping people and being impactful in the world and having some meaning behind what they do than the amount of money that comes back in. But truly authentic marketing comes from a place so deep inside your soul that you just feel excited to invite people to join you. And that place is often rooted in the things that made you happy as a child, and the reasons for that are probably because before all the pressures of being an adult kicked in, bills, earning money, all that kind of stuff, kids, whatever, housing, all that stuff. Before all that stuff kicked in, all you had to do was enjoy life. That's why superheroes are so popular. That's why cartoons, adults still watch cartoons, why not? So, focusing on the things that make you happy as a child are one of the keys to understanding yourself. So, what else do you need to know? Well, there's kind of four things about marketing. There's me. I call them the four M's. There's me, my message, my market, and my medium. Okay. And what do I mean by those? Well, me is what I enjoy, what I want, what brings me joy. My message is what I want to help people with. The market is who it's likely to help the most. And the medium is how I'm going to deliver that message to those people. But most marketers teach about the medium, with a few that will teach about the market. So your ideal customer, that kind of stuff. Most of them gloss over that bit because just pick a niche. Well, most people who actually care about meaningful work can't just pick a niche. It's embedded in your soul of who you want to help, you know. But I haven't seen anybody offering any help to figure out yourself or the message that you want to share. And without it, nothing else works because you just end up in a washing machine spiral of self doubt and no direction in what you're doing, and nothing feels right. It just kind of never quite hit the nail on the head. So, what you don't need to do, what you don't need to know right from the beginning, is how to make funnels and websites and writing great sales copy and amazing graphics and all that kind of stuff. That stuff comes in later. But you can't start there and then work backwards. You have to start with you and what drives you, what creates your passion, because people are attracted to joy, you know? And I like the way that Dan Kennedy explains it with his phrase magnetic marketing. Because if you think about it, magnets only attract a certain kind of metal, and you could get into the argument of alloys and metals and all that kind of stuff, which I don't really care about. The point is, if you try and put a magnet on an aluminium can, it's not going to stick, right? So that means it's not attracting that particular type of can. And that's what we used to do when I was at school. They gave out like little strips of magnets to test the cans that could be recycled and ones that couldn't. The aluminium cans could, the steel cans couldn't, because the magnet would stick to the steel cans and it wouldn't stick to the aluminium. And that's how you know the difference. But how can you know who you can attract with your business if you don't know yourself? you know so it's not about you are the magnet that's going to attract those people, but if you don't know what's magnetic about you, then it's really difficult to do. And it doesn't take a genius to do it. All the answers are inside yourself. You just need to know how to tap into them. And usually what happens, definitely happened to me, is that we spend years struggling to sell products and services or fighting to make funnels work. And if we're lucky, we kind of figure out this stuff about ourselves along the way. But if we don't, we just get frustrated, burned out, and quit, you know? And it's all very serious. It's all about focusing and getting things right and return on income and all that kind of stuff. It's it's too dry, and when you're really put off by that, or when you're quite intimidated by those things, most of the time it's just frustrating, and occasionally it can be really confronting. all of which is really unpleasant, not to mention the fact that often it just takes years. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that you don't need to stress about what you're going to offer, who you're going to offer it to, or how you're going to deliver it until you've figured out your most unique attributes, because that's the difference between selling and inviting. Selling sounds like buy my thing. And inviting sounds like I'm having so much fun with this, come and join me, which feels nicer to you. And if you can follow your joy, you can totally do this. So the next question, and this is one I get asked a lot, is what if I'm new to this or I don't have as much experience as you? How can I do this? Well, firstly, nobody's born knowing this stuff, or at least I wasn't. You had to go and figure it out for yourself, and that's hard. And secondly, you're in a much better position than me because nobody was there to help me, but I am there to be your narrator, your guide, and your voice of reason. So you don't have to be a confident marketer because those people don't need help. They already have this stuff figured out. The people who get the best results are those people who struggle with the whole idea of selling and or putting themselves out there. Maybe you've tried other marketing training before and that just hasn't worked for you. And maybe you've even thought that there's something wrong with you because you couldn't make it work. I know I felt like that for a long time. So are there any minimum skills necessary for success? Well, the only thing that I can really think of in answer to that question is a willingness to learn more about yourself so you can help others more effectively. You don't need any technical skills. If you can think back to when you were a child, you can read stories, watch videos, and follow some instructions, then you can totally do this. But other marketing training focuses on the delivery of your products and services, but none of that matters if you don't have a rock solid sense of self. So you don't need to know anything, you don't need to have any confidence, and you don't have to have been successful before. In fact, it's better if you haven't. You just need to be willing to learn and capable of reading stories and following instructions. So next question is, how can a game help my business? I love this question because loads of ways, actually. Of course, I mean, it'll help you tackle the stuff that you've been avoiding that will actually get you clients and expand your services and grow your business, which earns you more money. But one of the coolest things that happens is that the characters, they just get in your head. And then you start to think like your business is the story. And you come up with questions like, what would the characters do? And that can often extend into your life beyond business and marketing too. And when you can take that step back away from the thing that you've had your head in, the thing that you've been so close to, you will see solutions and opportunities that you didn't see before because you were so focused on getting it right or doing what you think you should do or whatever it is, and you can really put the characters into practice into your business. So, next question is, how long does it take to start seeing results? Well, the first milestone really is to start looking inside yourself for the answers rather than looking externally for somebody else to tell you what to do. And you can do that in the very first task. But the best results come when you allow yourself to really lean in to the process. When you let your imagination take you into the story, you'll be way more open to those possibilities, which will get you the results you need for your business much faster. So, is there anything that might stop me succeeding? Well, I see this a lot actually, and it's letting your logical brain sit in the driver's seat. Well, and like people go, "Well, what do you mean by that?" Right? And most of the time, we are trying to think something through logically so we can make a decision about something. But we're trying to find what I like to call your soul foundations, right? What's in your heart. And when you listen to your head instead of what's in your heart, you can drive yourself in circles. And I've seen people do it all the time. I did it myself. I've seen one-to-one clients do it. And as soon as you get out of your head and into your heart, things happen so fast and what you're really passionate about comes out really, really quickly. And the logic, it just gets in the way. So I help you walk through exactly how to get your head out of the way and into what you really care about in your heart. Okay. So they are some questions that I had about having fun in marketing and why it's really helpful to gain confidence. Because once you have a really rock solid understanding of who you are, what you care about, and what you want from your business, and then you can develop that into the message, and then you can develop that into the marketing, and then you develop that into the medium, right? But if you don't start with who you are, what you really care about, and what you really want, that goes over and above helping people, because that's actually, when you come to think about it, is really superficial. Because yes, you get an instant hit of feeling good when you've helped somebody else, but when you match helping somebody else with what you really care about, that's when the magic happens. So, I guess recap of what we've covered today in this fun question and answer session is that you have learned that I have been through that pit of despair that you are in right now when it comes to marketing. And what I learned is that truly authentic marketing doesn't come from selling stuff. And you don't have to be serious to get really great results. In fact, the more fun you have, the better. And with a kick-ass marketing mission, you can turn the big scary marketing monster into that cute little bunny rabbit so you can slay her quickly and finally move on with your life. You don't need to know how to put a website together or how to write amazing sales copy or how to be a whiz on social media. You just need to know about yourself, which everybody can do. You don't have to keep trying to sell people into the idea of training with you. You don't have to give away hours and hours of free stuff to get a sale. And you don't have to spend half your life in free consultations to convert prospects into buyers either, because prospects care about the same stuff you care about, in which case they'll be asking you to pay you. So you just need to learn how to invite people to share in your joy, which again, anyone can do. You don't need a fancy website or all the patter of a used car salesman or, a really outgoing or charismatic personality. You just need to find your authenticity, which we all have. So, I suppose the bottom line here is that if you can think back to when you were a child, let stories fire your imagination and follow step by step instructions, you really can leverage your joy to gain more confidence in your marketing so you can finally tackle all your marketing demons and win. So, if you're thinking right now that there's no reason why you shouldn't do this, you're right. So, here's what happens when you join the Kick-Ass Marketing Mission as a player. You get instant access to the level 1, which I call the darkness, because it feels like you're lost in the dark when you can't figure this stuff out in your business. So, firstly, you go through your orientation, where you'll get acquainted with how the game works and where everything is. Then you'll meet the characters, earning your mission ready badge. Okay, you'll start earning points, which we call lumens of self belief, with every section that you complete, and each completed section unlocks the next part of the game. There's also a players' lounge where you can interact with your fellow players, share your celebrations, and get the benefit of their experience. It's an individual game, so you'll all get stuck on different parts. You'll all find bits easier than others. And the players' lounge is designed for you to share tactics and strategies so you don't get stuck for longer than you need to. And if you need additional support, then you can book a Mayday call with me and even get a review certificate when you're done to give you feedback and suggestions. So you can get it if you head over to kickassmarketingmission.com to join us. And you'll also be offered the chance to learn all the underhanded tactics of your sworn enemy. We call her Wreck-It Rose, which I highly recommend you do if you're serious about beating your marketing demons. So right now we're in the launch phase of the game, which means that you can get the lowest price it's ever going to be, and you'll also get the chance to influence the content. So if you're struggling with a certain bit, tell me, and I will address it. And that means you might even get to influence the storyline too. But we will only be in the launch phase for a limited time, so make sure you come on over and join us before it's too late. Go to kickassmarketingmission.com and I will see you there. Thanks so much for all your questions. It's been a real pleasure. I am Sensei Sarah, and I will look forward to seeing you wherever your mission takes you.